Hey, what's up, 5-9 Gaming crew? It's your boy Rep here, joined by Iron Kane.
Howdy, howdy.
And today we got a little special treat for you. Let me start off the video with a question. Iron, do you currently own a PlayStation 5?
I do. I was very, very lucky to get one. I was really, really scared I wasn't going to get the one I ordered. I'm going to piss a couple people off here. I actually ended up ordering two by mistake, or whatever you want to call it, because I didn't think one order went through. So I'm like, I gotta get another one, man.
Another one.
Yeah. So I ended up giving another one to a friend. Yeah, I lucked out. I lucked out there. But no, I was so frustrated because I remember watching the PlayStation Direct, or not PlayStation Direct, whatever their little video presentation thing was. Showing the PS5. They're like, oh yeah, it's gonna go online tomorrow, and then I see like Twitter blowing up, like, oh, it's on store now. I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, are you serious? It was, yeah, they didn't handle that great, but I don't want to dwell too much on that.
Yeah, my bank account wasn't ready for that when they hit the night before. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I'm happy for you. Also, a bit envious that and jealous that you got two, that you got both you ordered for, but you did give one away, which is fine. Anyway, I currently do not have a PS5, just because, you know, when I got into the game, scalpers and everything came into it, which actually segues into this little video we have right here. Editors, you can show it on screen. Currently, as I'm playing it right now, it says PlayStation 5 just broke a US record. Apparently, according to the NPD group, the PS5 is now the fastest selling console in US history by dollar sales. However, the PS5 is only the second best selling hardware platform in February. And I do believe that the Nintendo Switch continues to lead that market as per sales. Now, with that being said, I want to take something away from this, that obviously PS5s are extremely hard to find nowadays because you have the whole scalper situation, and with them being produced, I actually have a little story I can talk about when I used to work in a retail position and how they would go about acquiring it after the scalper situation has already happened. But here's something I want to speculate on with you, Iron. Let's say 1 out of 10. It's like, what am I trying to say here? I'll stop beating around the bush. How many of these PlayStation 5 consoles do you genuinely think are actually in the hands of gamers and not scalpers?
Well, for your out of 10 example, I'd say maybe, to be realistic, I think it's 2 out of 10. Like
I was about to say the same, 2 out of 10.
Yeah, it's insane, man. As soon as, like, you'll see a post on Twitter, no matter, shout out to like people like Wario64, if you follow them on Twitter, really good at posting updates and when the PS5 goes in stock. But anyway, like whenever someone says PS5 is now in stock, like, you know, go crazy, they're gone within like minutes, sometimes even seconds. Like, it's crazy. And I highly doubt all those PS5s are being bought by real people for it to be gone that fast. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when you have scalpers and other people utilizing bots to beat the bots, trying, and they're just at each other's throats, just trying to get that one sweet PlayStation 5. And with that being said, I think there was one Amazon.com restock that I timed it. I think when one of ours in the Discord let us know when they'd be available. I tracked them. Like, I kept refreshing the page, going to the cart, and in exactly, I think, 12 minutes, they sold out. So wow. It's getting better, but in terms of them just going, it's still unfortunately a problem. And this goes back to when scalping was like a huge thing. I saw, don't know if this is real or not, could be fake, but when I see pictures on Twitter of just garages filled with PlayStation 5s, I'm just thinking, I hate this guy. Like, yeah, right? Why? Because plus you want to turn a profit. Yeah, they could be. But it's just the thing, when you see that, it just hurts. Because it hurts, yeah, like, how many people genuinely could have those consoles, but they play the game, they buy the consoles, they turn it for a profit, boom, bam, they got it. And
I think it... go ahead. Oh, all right. I was just going to say, I think it might be like a part of the scalping situation. I think it might be because gaming is becoming more and more mainstream. And I mean, I don't know if it's sneakerheads, like if it's like that kind of mentality. Like if a new sneaker comes out, like they're gone very quickly, and then like you have to like they're like auction. You have to buy them like that. You know, they're scalped basically. So I wonder if like those like sneakerheads, those types of people that made money doing that have moved over to the gaming industry, whether it be limited edition consoles or like just straight up PS5s and the new Xboxes in general.
I mean, it could be, because you see in that said market, you see such a high demand, and a good amount of people could end up actually paying top dollar for those consoles, because it's just like, oh, I had to pay $600, $700, but at least I got a PS5, and it's like that. You just paid if you paid $700 for a $500 console, that's a $200 increase on a console you could have waited to get. But it's the fear of not getting one because of them being sold out everywhere you go. But let's get back on track a bit. Sony breaking the record. This is definitely interesting, considering they say dollar sales. Going back to my thought with dollar sales, you have a console that's $500, right? And you have the Nintendo Switch, for example, which is still the most sold console, but that's individual console unit sales. That's not dollar amount. Yeah. So obviously there is a $200 difference, if I remember that correctly. There's a $200 difference between the Switch main edition and the PS5, and even like there's a $300 difference between the PlayStation 5 and the Switch Lite. So of course, when scalpers and people who are lucky to get a PlayStation 5 buy them, yeah, of course that's going to increase exponentially, rather than people just, buying Switches. There's that X amount of dollar increase per console. Now, I found something very interesting that I want to do comparatively. We all know that the Sony PlayStation 5 released November 12th of 2020, right? So I found an article, I can try and find it later to throw it on the screen, to where it showed that within Nintendo Switch's first 4 weeks of them being released, they sold over 4.7 million. I think that's including like everything, like Switch Lites, base Switch, everything. 4.7 million units.
Wow.
Or that could be $4.7 million in sales. Whichever the case. I think for PlayStation, there was an article that said that they were getting over that, I think, in dollar amounts, which is fair. But the PlayStation 5, being that it's $500, and they've been out for 6 weeks, from November 12th to the margin is from November 12th to the end of the year last year in 2020. So that, I believe, is 6 weeks. I counted that right? Let me just make sure I counted that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoop. 5, 6. Roughly 6 weeks, yeah. So they might catch up with unit sales, but I just think they need to make more games. Like once Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart comes out, and they can actually mass produce them more and more, and just really try their best to put a cap on maybe tracking where these orders are coming from, like how many different IPs can go through and buy PS5s,
Yeah, I think right now buying a PS5 is like buying a pair of swim trunks in the winter. It's like, you're not going to use them right now. I mean, I use my PS5, so like, who am I kidding? But it's just like, you're not going to use it that much. Like, a majority, or 90% of the games you'll play on the PS4 are available to play on the PS5. Like, there are like a few that's not able to play on PS5. So, you're going to play your PS4 games on the 5, in that sense. But you could still play on the PS4, man. It works just the same.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, most games aren't taking advantage of the advanced frame rates at this point anyway. So, and like the exclusive, there's Miles Morales and Demon's Souls, or like the two biggies. And there's not really,
But even though Miles Morales still came out for the PS4, I should know, I streamed it and I loved every second of it. Like that, as long as you're going to still make games for the PS4, me personally, I don't see a need to immediately get a PS5. Therefore, the demand may not be that high to carry the momentum to push them past Nintendo Switch sales.
Yeah, I think PlayStation, like during 360 and PS3 like era, Xbox was like, reigning king, and then they had that whole thing with the Xbox One with the always being online, and that was a huge controversy. And then like everybody just kind of turned inside and then went over to PlayStation, and PlayStation's been riding that momentum ever since, and PlayStation has just been so dominant from 4 to 5, and Xbox has kind of just been like playing catch up, and then Nintendo always does its own thing, and it's been working out good for Nintendo. But yeah, the PlayStation has been very dominant since the release of the 4.
Yeah, but I don't think that's going to be apparent this time around with the release of the 5. Like, they got to push out more games. They've got to really hone it right there to say, hey, you need to get a PS5. This is why. Like, of course, you have some games and the loading screen times are non-existent. Everything looks beautiful for sure. But the collection just isn't worth it right now, as of right now, with the Nintendo Switch. And we're even talking about like a rumored Switch Pro. And if that ever drops, there's going to be people that want to see what Nintendo's got to offer for that. And of course, if you have a family or friends online and all that, like I'm debating getting a Switch Lite, to be honest. Because
I'm definitely interested in the Switch Pro. Maybe not the Lite, but the Pro for sure.
Yeah, it's just because my girlfriend has a Switch. She has a Switch Lite. I might get one. I don't know. I might need to get an Xbox Series S because I'm a Halo boy. But either way, do you think Sony can keep this momentum going and end up being the biggest selling console of all time?
It's a possibility. It's definitely a possibility. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I'm a bit more on the negative Nancy side of things because sure, it's a possibility, but they need to do things to really make that mark. They need to do things to just... What's that one thing that I would love for them to just do, and then I'm just like, shut up, take my money. Like, I'm just straight there.
It's definitely a drought in terms of games.
Yeah. So currently, as of right now, I would say no, I don't think they'll be able to carry this momentum. I don't even think it's really Sony per se that's carrying this momentum. I think as long as Sony's going to produce the consoles, people are going to... Scalpers might have the upper hand and just buy more and more and more of them out. So the dollar sales are going to be looking good. But if people can't get their hands on them, they're just going to stop trying.
Yeah, no, that's true.
There's going to be an eventual time when that happens. I'm sure of it. Because I'm perfectly fine saying, hey, I'll get my PS5 like winter of 2021 or something, or maybe in the summertime. Like, I'm not a guy that wants to get like day one.
Yeah, I mean, there are talks of like them passing laws to inhibit scalping in some ways. I know I heard something about it in the UK. I think there's something being done in the United States as well, to play in effect, help lessen the scalping, because it is getting ridiculous for like it.
Oh yeah. And
it's been months now.
This is something I wanted to talk about. Like, I know we're running the timer here, but they can probably edit some of this out. I used to work at I'm just going to call it a retail shop. Not going to throw any specific names of companies. But I worked as like a mobile tech consultant, like in the electronics section. And whenever people come in and say, yo, you got the new Xbox Series S, PS5, I'm like, nah, man, I don't have it. And if we do, like, we specifically told them this. They would be online only. You can only order one, and you would have to come in the store to pick it up. And when we did receive a shipment, we're talking maybe 7 PS5s and like maybe 12 Xbox Series S's and 6 X's. Like, the shipment was so minimal that they're spreading everything most likely thin to everyone to try and appease like people who have like either pre-orders or just trying to get all the systems they can out to places that they can sell them, Yeah,
it brings up the question how, I don't know if Sony's made an official statement on scalping, but like, how do they feel about this? Because sure, their consoles are being sold, but they're not being
utilized.
played. Yeah,
exactly. And that's my thing, to where it's like, yeah, you can see, yeah, you can say with this IGN article, oh, they're very successful in terms of selling them and making a profit, but that, and a company can 100% for sure care about that. Like, all they would care about is making profit. That, if that's your goal, sure, go right ahead. But I feel like you could have your cake and eat it too, to which case maybe, I hope that these laws on scalping, if they actually take an effect, that'd be great. I don't know, I'm not sure what they are, but if it is good, then PS5 would still be getting sold to actual people who want to play them, and then have that dedicated fan base on a new console. Then when the games drop, boom, you're boosted even more, because these scalpers aren't going to buy the games, they're not going to play the games, they're just waiting to make like a maybe 150%, 200% profit increase.
Yeah, I think that's what PlayStation needs to do if they really want to keep this momentum, is try to solve the scalping issue and put out some good exclusives. Like Ratchet's coming, God of War may or may not be coming this year, but they need to pump out the good exclusives that they're known for.
Yeah, exactly. And with the exclusive, you'll have people try, and then all they have to do is limit access, and then it's what has to be done. I'm talking about it more now. If the problem can be limited, I have no doubt in my mind that PlayStation could possibly overtake Nintendo in most consoles being sold. But congratulations for them getting the record for most what was it? The most US dollar dollar sales.
We'll see if it eventually goes to
scalping.
Units.
Yeah, I want to see unit numbers.
Yeah, it is kind of like, oh, all right. I mean, I guess that's cool, but I feel like units, to me personally, is more impressive than,
exactly.
US dollars.
Yeah, and are those units being utilized? That's what I like to see. Because you look at Switch, I'll look at a family of 4 maybe, and they have one Switch that the mom and Pop use, and then for the 2 kids, they have their Switch Lites. That's 3 consoles being utilized, rather than, let's say, 50 consoles in a garage just collecting dust, waiting for the next person. Or I was gonna say sucker, because if you're paying $1,300 for a PS5, you might want to check yourself.
You know what we need, man? We need like a Robin Hood superhero that goes around like taking the PS5s and like giving it back to the people.
He's driving like a semi, and he just like raids it with a forklift.
Yeah, man.
That'd be great. But either way, I know we've rambled on and on about this, but we want to hear what you guys think down in the comment section down below. Do you think the scalping issue will subside? Do you appreciate Sony's, record on top dollar sales? Do you want a PS5? Because I sure do once the exclusives hit. I mean, come on, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Oh, looks good. But either way,
spicy.
I'm Rev.
And I'm Iron King, man.
There you go. Simply put like that. If you want to follow us in anything, general gaming, general media, anything at all, be sure to hit that red subscribe button down there, turn it gray, and hit that like button. Hit that like button. Make it blue, why don't you? And drop a comment. We're always down there able to help.